A case for incorporation. Where Orindans now live was the home of the Ohlone or Costanoan Indians 1,000 years ago. Major finds of Indian artifacts were in the area of the Orinda Golf Course, McDonald Nursery, and Glorietta School. Orinda's mild weather, plentiful game, and water provided a desirable environment. Huts recreated by Orinda school children at Wagner Ranch demonstrate Orinda's first housing developments. The chief made sure the density did not exceed the general plan. Our history begins with the grandsons of two Spanish-Mexican soldier explorers who first accompanied De Anza overland into the Bay Area over 200 years ago. Joaquin Moraga in 1835, 150 years ago, was given over 13,000 acres, Rancho Laguna de los Palos Colorados, which included Glorietta, Del Rey, and Miramonte areas, and on to Moraga. In 1841, Victor Castro obtained 22,000 acres, which is now Orinda Village, Sleepy Hollow, El Toyonel, and El Sobrante. After the Americans acquired California, Mrs. Alice Marsh Cameron named Orinda after a 17th century poet, Kathleen Phillips, who was called the matchless Orinda. The word Orinda is borrowed from the Greek and is a special kind of bread. Things moved slowly, but transportation was dependable. Heading home to the ranch, these are the minor daughters on the road that bears the family name. The family raised hay and horses in Sleepy Hollow. The old yellow house built by Sea Captain Jenkins in 1918 still stands on Moraga Way. This was the Wagner home, 200 acres. Today it is Wagner Ranch School Wilderness Area. A moss-covered bench remains from another era. A pretty home, over 100 years old, built by Judge Gartland, still stands on Casa Vieja. Perhaps one of the most famous names in Orinda is that of De La Viaga. Members of the De La Viaga family still occupy the home. The home, built in the late 1800s, burned, was rebuilt exactly as the original. Edward De La Viaga, a third-generation De La Viaga in Orinda, was largely responsible for the modern Orinda, building homes and the country club. The 1902 entrance to Minor Road, and the mail is late again. The California-Nevada Railroad trestle near Minor Road. The line was built in the mid-1800s to connect Emeryville, Berkeley with Richmond and Orinda, and was to go on to Nevada. The railroad, however, ran out of money, and the line ended at San Francisco Mayor Bryant's house at Bryant's Corner, site of the Orinda Theater. The railroad carried grain and brought people out to the wilds, Orinda, for picnics and swimming holes. The first firehouse was built in 1925. Later, a room was added, which was the library. By the 1920s, the forebearers of gridlock had appeared. People still didn't flock to Orinda. The old tunnel was said to be dark and narrow. Orinda in the 1920s reflected the quiet, gentle land. When the new tunnel was finished in 1937, the population of Orinda was 767. By 1955, almost 10,000 people found a country setting, a place that could accommodate growing families with an appreciation for rolling hills and bubbling creeks. In the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, the orchards and hills filled with new homes, but Orinda retained a sense of uniqueness, a special harmony with nature. The Orinda schools enjoy a reputation of excellence. The board is composed of 5 elected Orindans. The fire district, governed by a local Orinda Board of Commissioners, has 3 stations. The district provides rescue as well as fire services. Orindans know where the stations are and how quickly help will arrive. The community center has become a bright focal point of Orinda. The battle to purchase the school was almost lost because skeptics predicted Orindans wouldn't financially support or use such a facility. A shopping center wanted the site. Orinda is a complexity of self-expression reflected in the way people live and what they like to do, as different as the seasons and nature's surprises. In the last 20 years, the population of Contra Costa has grown 65%. The problems of growth and Proposition 13 have confronted the County Board of Supervisors with difficult decisions on funding. Unincorporated areas such as Orinda are paying taxes and are receiving lower levels of service. Lafayette, Moraga, now 10 years old, were recently joined by the new cities of Danville and San Ramon. All wanted control of their planning, better police protection, and returned services for the taxes paid. In order to raise more county funds through property tax, the supervisors are approving high-density developments. Orinda money is being spent elsewhere. Orinda does not control the funds, level of services provided, or the local planning. State and federally mandated programs dealing with water, transportation, disposal, social services are taking all the supervisors' time. East County is facing problems with roads, school growth with little master planning. The county hospital had a deficit of over $10 million last year. What will incorporation do for Orinda? Let's talk about police. Orinda has one deputy on duty with 24-hour coverage. Infrequently, another deputy is assigned. The patrol area, Beat 10, is to the north of Wildcat Canyon Road and Briones, and south through Moraga to the Oakland line of Redwood Road and Skyline. Bollinger Canyon is also covered in this beat. Deputies, after being transferred into the community, are often rotated out before becoming familiar with Orinda. Under incorporation, Orinda can contract to the sheriff or neighboring police forces or form their own department. With incorporation of Orinda, 2 or more officers would be on duty at all times. The area to be covered would only be the city limits. The city of Orinda would decide the level of service needed. Moraga Police Chief Tom Sims.
Just as a brief recap, through the first 4 years, ending December of last year, overall crime rate in Moraga was down for that 4-year period by 52%. Burglaries, for example, were down 73%. Automobile thefts, 74%, and assaults, 86%. Another item I think of interest to people is the cost of providing these police services. Our budget this year is a little over $600,000. And for that $600,000, we have 10 full-time police officers, 1 full-time records clerk, crossing guards, our police reserves, and maintain the office open during normal business hours Monday through Friday. One of the things that I think has been very good in Moraga is the fact that we've had very little turnover in our police department. When we started our department with the 10 officers 5 years ago, we anticipated an initial high turnover rate, but the fact is that out of those 10 people, there are still 8 of us who have been here for the full 5 years. The other 2 officers have been here for 3 years. Some people have commented that the reduction in the crime rate should be attributed to the fact that Moraga is isolated, but I think in response to that, I would say that Moraga has always been an isolated community, and the reduction in the last 5 years has been primarily due to the fact that we've increased the level of patrol service and hired a very good caliber of officer.
The next voice is Rick Harmon, the mayor of the new city of San Ramon and an Oakland police lieutenant.
I'm going to tell you that I'm absolutely, unequivocally, without any reservation, in favor of incorporation. It's simply to say that incorporation works. Anytime since Prop 13 has passed, the law that affects incorporations makes it work. When you check the facts out, you'll find that you can do more of what you want to do in providing municipal services by incorporating.
A rented office would provide a place where Orindans could come in and discuss their safety concerns. A place of identification. When Orindans call now, where is the call going? Let's talk about roads. The percentage of county dollars spent in Orinda has dropped for the last 5 years. County road funds now only provide for 50% of regular maintenance and 30% for preventive maintenance. No additional funds have been allocated. The budget for Orinda was $574,000. There are no cash reserves. Under incorporation, Orinda has a proposed budget of $742,000 with reserve funds available. Preventive maintenance and repair would be top priority. The City Council would be able to contract work with greater flexibility. Just as the county, Orinda would have access to federal funds for major slide repair. The City Council would be interested in obtaining funds for Orinda alone. Let's talk about planning. Residents of Orinda could reach Oakland City Hall or San Francisco Civic Center as quickly as a drive to Martinez. Martinez is only accessible by automobile. The general plan of Orinda took 3 years of planning and many area citizens' hours, hearings, and work sessions. It takes only a vote of the County Board of Supervisors to change the intent of the general plan or the zoning ordinances. Appeals on decisions can go only to the Board of Supervisors. Supervisors voting on the future of Orinda live in Antioch, Concord, Martinez, Walnut Creek, and Richmond. Orinda is only 1/5 of District 2 and votes with other communities in District 2 for only 1 supervisor. Under incorporation, Orinda would have a planning commission and an elected city council to decide planning issues. Planning issues can also be submitted to the voters. Orinda has a choice: control of our own planning or allow county politics to dictate community standards. Recent articles in the San Francisco Chronicle detail the amount of money developers have poured into supervisors' campaigns. Orinda has no representation or major commission making decisions on problems affecting Orinda. A county report recently tabled suggested merger of Orinda with another fire district and closure of Orinda's Honey Hill, Charles Hill Fire Station. Orinda commissioners had to rely on representation from Moraga for input on the commission. Michelle Jacobson, co-chair of the Orinda Association Planning Committee.
The 10-year-old general plan that we're working with needs updating, needs reworking, and the possibilities of the county doing this job are close to nil. This is especially important when you understand that we have no circulation plan in our general plan. The county has no traffic circulation plan for Orinda. And Orinda certainly has traffic problems. They're increasing every day, and currently the intersection at Camino Pablo and Brookwood is at the highest, or depending on your point of view, lowest level of efficiency that is possible. It cannot be evaluated at a worse level. We're currently beginning to look at several projects, both in the downtown and in surrounding agricultural areas, currently zoned agricultural. There's the Bear Creek development, which plans to have up to 265 units. The Sullivan Ranch development proposal is suggesting 58 units. The Orinda Oaks development near Hall Drive has a proposed 48 unit.
Next, the man who helped bring clear, clean water to the East Bay, Francis Blanchard, former manager of Water Resources and Planning Division, East Bay Mud. He was responsible for planning and securing water rights on the McCollummy River, which is the prime source of our water supply.
What did I think about incorporation for Orinda? Well, I think the time has come. Self-government. Isn't that what this country's all about?
Incorporation is a significant step toward conservation and preservation of Orinda. The reaffirmation of 150 years of history, where there was an awareness of the precious balance between how Orindans live and what Orindans do with the land. It is our legacy and our responsibility to protect what we love.